Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I'm pleased to have a returning guest from the Tolland, not baseball, even though he was on before on the baseball side. Now he's coming on the football side as the quarterback for Tolland. His name, Nathan Bowes. Nathan, thanks so much for being able to come back on, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back here. It's an honor.
First and foremost, before we get into obviously what you've been doing with now the football side of your career, I know the baseball side, and I'm sure we'll talk about that just for a little bit, but just how was your summer? I know you were playing baseball, I think, right?
Yeah, baseball really just finished up 2 weeks ago. So it was kind of 2, 3 weeks ago. I was like playing baseball, but I was also doing football stuff. I was going to football 77s while I was playing baseball. And then I would go to some baseball practices I'd have to miss to go to football practice, or some football things I'd have to miss to go to baseball. But I managed it out pretty well. But my summer was definitely busy for sure, with both sports overlapping, but it's all right.
So really, you're starting to understand the meaning of time management. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I had to make sure had baseball, football, and family all separate.
Do you have on your calendar, on your phone, or in your room, kind of like, okay, this is my almost like your checklist of what you want to do each day?
Yeah, I definitely. My mom and my dad help me out with that a lot. They got times that I get up and I make sure that I'm eating right and getting my workouts in before and after practices. But yeah, I make sure that I'm on a pretty decent schedule, and I've also been working a little bit as out of the time that I can. I've been working the summer, so I don't know. I practiced. I like made a schedule for myself that I knew I was gonna have to follow, and if I didn't, everything was just gonna be a mess. So it's worked. So it worked all the way through the summer. So I'm glad that it came out that way.
As somebody in yourself who's very good at both baseball and football, and because I know how much you put into your craft, how do you try to not overdo it, man? Try to not exert your body too much where you start to, where an injury could pop up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think mainly working on the things that the things that I know that I'm not the best at. I work on more, so that way I'm not putting all my endurance into stuff that I know I'm better at than stuff that I'm not good at. So like I'm good at throwing the ball on the run, but I'm not good at throwing the ball, like making sure I'm staying in the pocket and stepping up and stuff. So lately I've just been a lot of making sure like I'm stepping through the pocket instead of always trying to roll out and stuff like that. So I'm making sure that I'm not overdoing one thing way higher than the other, just so that I make sure that I could get all my craft evened out by the time that the season starts, which is tomorrow, really.
Now, when were you able to kind of really, because obviously with baseball just ending 2 weeks ago, you probably weren't able to really, practice your craft as much as maybe you wanted to at the quarterback position. So, where would you say, as far as from 0 to 100, where are you percentage wise, where you feel comfortable right now with the quarterback position?
Right now I say that I'm almost there. I'd say like 85, 90%. Definitely not my 100. Yeah, I know I'm just not. I don't think I'll ever be at 100, to be honest with you, the whole season, because I know I'll always have stuff to work at. But
Hmm.
I'm like comfortable wise, I'm probably at like 85 to 90. But I did a lot of. I mean, I obviously couldn't do as much as I wanted to with baseball. But I mean, some days that we had like hitting practices for baseball, I went and hit, and then I just didn't throw the baseball that day. And then after the baseball practice, me and my dad would throw a football, and me and my brother would throw a football, just to make sure that my arm was in condition to go throw a football at the 77 the next day or whatever.
Now, you mentioned about the 7v7 and all that, and the biggest, I think, this season is going to be huge for a lot of reasons. Obviously, football is back. But another thing, too, is really kind of going to see a lot of talent that we weren't able to see because of COVID, and also, too, because in 2019, these receiver skill guys were either not getting a lot of varsity time or were not even at the school yet. So, have you been able to work with your skill guys to try to get that chemistry?
Yeah, for sure. That was like one of my most important things from me, and I have a good connection with my coaches. We have a new quarterback coach, Coach Jarvis. He was talking to me a lot this off season, and the receivers that were coming in and the receivers that had been there since when I was the last time I played when I was a freshman, and when they were, because we three of our receivers now are senior. So I made sure that I worked with them this offseason for any days that I had off or anything. I made sure that I got to the field with them, or just to make sure that our timing was down. We were on the same communication, like we just made sure that everything was somewhat perfected before the season started, so that we didn't just step on the field and everything was a mess. We kind of already knew like what we were doing with each other.
And as you were going through the workouts with your skill players, did anybody else? I mean, was it kind of something where, because obviously you're a junior now, you're kind of at that point now, man, where it's guys and you, I think you said you and one other player have the most as far as varsity experience. So you're going to be looked upon as kind of the de facto, like, these are the guys. And I'm sure your head coach would agree. Was there more positions other than the wide receivers that were coming to work out?
Yeah, for sure. We have our captain, one of the captains, Leo Jolly. He's a lineman. He definitely made sure that the linemen were there every day, working as hard as they possibly could, just working on their blocks. They had the barrels set up even in the summer. The other captain, Logan Perez, he's playing wide receiver, but he's also on the defensive side of the ball. So he worked with linebackers and all that stuff. One of the main DBs, Evan Albert, worked with the corners and stuff. And then I mostly worked with there's two other freshman quarterbacks coming in, and then this kid Logan Perez, he also played quarterback a little bit. So we just made sure that we were all working together and that everyone was on the same page, and that we weren't going to the workouts and just screwing around with each other. That we were actually getting stuff done to be prepared for the season.
Now, during the summer, and you and I were talking about before we started this, that the offense this year is going to be a little bit different, more up tempo, kind of speed, first down, right on the ball. Is that something that you knew was going to be a part of the plan this season? And if so, were you practicing it with your quote unquote, the guys who showed up? Were you kind of practicing during the summer?
Yeah, for sure. We didn't like 100% know, but we knew that coach had a pretty good idea of who he had on the roster and who was on the team. So we pretty much figured like, all right, we're not going to be bigger than other teams, so we're going to have to be more conditioned. So we made sure, even if we weren't using the football, that we were conditioning and like in shape to be able to run all game long. So I'd say, yeah, I think that we kind of went in with the mindset knowing that we're going to have to run the ball or outrun our opponents for sure.
So what kind of things have you been, and without giving up too much, I mean, is it kind of like, I don't want to say the wildcat, but is it kind of like that in a sense, play action, the option, triple option? Is that the kind of stuff that's been potentially been practiced as far as with you and such during the summer?
Yeah, it's I'm not gonna give too much away, but it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
It's just gonna be different than what Tolland's been in the past. That's really all I'm gonna say.
Now, for people who may not know, and I'm one of them because you don't come up to the NVO to ever play, so shame on you guys. I'd love to see Talon play. What was Talon like before what will be, I think, a pretty good season out of you guys? What were they beforehand as far as what kind of offense were they?
It was weird. Sometimes we spread it out, but sometimes we did a lot of under center stuff. So we were mainly it wasn't run heavy, but we definitely didn't throw the ball as much as we ran it.
Okay, interesting. I think that would it's weird to go from under center to spread. I feel like that's kind of like it's almost like make up your mind. Do you want syrup or do you want sprinkles on your ice cream? You know what I mean? You can't both doesn't work for me.
Yeah, for sure. All through youth, the guys that I'm playing with now, because it's pretty much my youth team at this point, with everyone missing that COVID year. We've always ran a spread through youth. Like it was kind of just a thing that we did,
Mhm.
and which works out well now that coach wants to spread it out. I think we've always known that even in youth, we were never bigger than any team. So we beat teams by outrunning them,
Mhm.
just being in better condition. But it's not like normal, but it's somewhat normal in a sense that we've all done it before.
And see, that's huge. And no disrespect to the previous regime at Tallinn or any for that matter, as far as at a high school, college, etc. But when you have a young group like you just said, who was running like you said, running like crazy, you're running a particular offense. Then you go to the next level and they change it up. There's that uncomfortable ability that you guys now have to relearn almost in some sense. Why not run what was like, the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel?
I think it was mainly reinvented or I shouldn't even say that because really it's like we're really going to run everything. I think that we're going to run our offense based on how the other team's defense plays. So whatever they do, we're going to do what we think we could do to beat it. But I think it just came back from like coach just knew who he had on the roster and he knew what was going to work best for us. So, and we practiced it and it turned out that everything's working well so far.
And how was the turnout during the summer workouts as far as with the team? I know certain teams were having great numbers, some teams were not that I know of. How were the turnouts? And for yourself, do were you able to kind of, were you more the vocal leader or was it more you wanted to lead by example in the weight room?
Yeah, I thought the workouts actually were very good. We had 25, 30 guys in there at sometimes. We had 8 a.m. workouts so everyone could be there before in the morning. And then once the 7v7 showed up, all of our skilled guys were always there most of the time. And I think I'm definitely more of like one of the vocal guys. I would be the guy that like if they weren't there, I'd call them up. I'd be like, "Hey, where were you?" Most of the time, they had a fair excuse. They weren't just gonna miss. They weren't just gonna miss the practice. I think our team this year is very bought in to the program, and we're
Mm.
trying to like build it up, build a new program. Not new, but because we've had a good program in the past. But Coach Gazarian's definitely put a lot of work into building a new thing. But I'm definitely a vocal leader in that like part of it.
And you speak of the new head coach for Tolland, and I think a lot of people may have forgotten that Tolland has a new head coach. He was kind of hired, if I remember right, during the COVID season, kind of how a lot of coaches were. So technically, this is his first season, quote
Yeah.
unquote, second season.
Yeah, for sure. He's a great coach. He really knows what he's talking about, and he knows what we need to do to beat other teams.
And for people also too who may not know the name, he was on the staff with Sheehan when Farazi, who's still there, had him. The Talon coach now, who I don't even want to try to butcher his name. Pat
Oh yeah,
Miller, Pat Miller, who's also at Norwalk. There were a lot of coaches who were poached off that staff because they had a great 2019 season before COVID. They won the championship in Class S. So that's got to
yeah,
make you guys thrilled that it's like, hey, he's got a ring. He knows what he's doing. Let's listen to him.
yeah. The team's definitely bought into him. You could tell he's just one of those coaches where you go in there and you like hear the things he's saying, and you're like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking. Not all coaches, but some of them think they know more than what they really do. But you just know that he knows exactly what he's talking about and where people are. He knows where to put people so that you could beat that. He just knows what he's doing.
And as you say, he knows what he's doing. I'm sure he's been working with you, man. Kind of what has just take me into kind of a practice as far as what is he telling you? What's going through your mind? I mean, I know the speed is obviously the biggest thing. Have you been able to make that adjustment?
Yeah, he told me that I was gonna have to be like very mobile from the beginning of the season. So I made sure that I just did like ladder stuff, and now in practice, his main thing is just doing things the right way. So in a ladder drill, don't mess up. You don't have to fly through it if you don't know the exact footwork. Don't rush it and make it all sloppy. Make sure it's the right thing, and you'll speed up over time. But he's had me doing everything. Drops, stepping through, running the ball. He just, I don't know, he teaching me a lot of stuff that I didn't really know so far. So it's been good.
Now I'm going to connect something real quick, so stay with me here. Obviously, in baseball, when you're a pitcher, and because you're a pitcher, also a very good catcher as well, man. Sometimes the third pitch, the changeup, command kind of comes last for young pitchers for various reasons. In football, for a quarterback, the one thing I've noticed is with talking with various coaches from all levels is that throwing on the run and throwing to the opposite hands. Because you're a right-handed thrower, it would be your left hand. So anything on the left side of the field, both inside and outside the numbers. Is that something where you've been trying to work on? Because if you're running like Patrick Mahomes, you got to make, and I think that's where baseball comes in. you could make the throws from all over because that's what you've done in baseball, making throws from all different angles.
Yeah, playing baseball is definitely an advantage, especially going into the season. My arm's already not in like prime football condition just because it's two different ways you throw the ball, but it's definitely already like loose and already I've been throwing for 5 6 months before I even touched the football. But yes, I've definitely been working on throwing the ball to the left side, throwing rolling out left, throwing the ball with my turn, make sure I get my shoulders turned, my hips turned, and following through all my throws and opening my foot up the correct way and leading the receivers and everything. So we've definitely done a lot of work, and my timing with the receivers has been pretty almost perfect lately.
Now, when you go to practice, are you practicing the same thing every day, or are you changing it up so that way it doesn't get repetitive?
Yeah, I definitely change it up. Some days I'll work a lot of my like reads on ends if I have to run the ball, or some days I got to work on throwing on the run. Some days I'm working on sitting in the pocket. Some days I'm just doing straight ladder stuff. Like today I went to practice. I think I threw the ball like twice. I just did all footwork stuff, made sure that my feet were ready to go. We got a scrimmage tomorrow against Berlin, so we'll see how that goes.
Now, how much, and let's, talk about the scrimmage. How much are you going to play during that scrimmage? And two, how, when looking at a scrimmage, obviously you could be in when there's the second and third stringers. So what is kind of going to be your mindset when you're facing players who may not be at the varsity level yet, the opposing team I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm gonna treat everyone the same, just as if they were a varsity lineman. I'm not gonna just play down. I'm not gonna play down, or I'm also gonna respect them, believe that they're gonna be able to get to me as fast as the varsity lineman could get to me. So my mentality is just to go score. To be honest with you, if I see openings, throw the ball there, and or if I see lanes that I can run through, throw the ball there. And tomorrow, I'm not really sure how much I'm gonna play. To be honest with you, I think we're gonna do like a first string, second string, third string type deal, just so that we don't have any injuries before the actual season starts. I'm sure coach is not gonna want anyone to get injured. So I don't know.
And the speed part of the game too, and I know you just talked about kind of treating everybody, just like if you're seeing the ones. And I know you said how the game has started to slow down for you. And I think looking at this season, there's going to be a lot of young men, doesn't matter if they're a freshman to a senior, where the
Yeah.
game is going to be speeding at a very high pace. For you, because it's slowing down so much, is that because you've had so many reps, or is it just the fact that you know what you believe you've worked hard and just you're just kind of a different breed?
I think it's both. To be honest with you, I think the speed part is just because of how fast. Like if you saw our practice, everything is so fast that when I see like a normal speed defense, it's like, oh my god, everything's so slow. But it's slowed down. But it's like it's easier for me because I can see someone open so much faster than the defender realizes that they have to close on them or something like that. And then I also just believe in myself, believe in the team that we've worked to this point as fast as we could and as hard as we could. So like why speed the game up so much when you can just take a deep breath, relax, and realize like you're fine, relax.
I mean, I think about the quarterback from Chicago, former Ohio State Justin Fields. He said after his first preseason game, "Oh, I thought the game was going to be faster." I heard that quote and I'm like, "What?" I mean, I get it's only preseason, but still, he sounded very confident. And I think he is confident. To you, as the quarterback and as somebody who you have both offense and defense kind of looking at, okay, if the quarterback is acting like a hot dog, well, everyone else is going to act like a hot dog. Do you kind of feel like you have to present yourself almost like a pro on the field because you have so many people looking at you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially this year, I fortunately from the coaches and players, I was voted as captain. So it's me and two other seniors are the captains. But yeah, I definitely think that being vocal and leading by example, both of those things together, people are going to look up to me, and I just got to make sure that I'm not, making stupid decisions on and off the field, and doing the right thing this coach has preached all year long, doing the right thing, saying the right thing, doing the right thing, not saying the right thing, and then going and doing whatever you want.
Now, have you written down or thought about any kind of goals? I know the team, obviously you want to be able to make the playoffs, winning record, and just obviously have success. But selfishly for you, what kind of goals have you set? It could either be stats, it could be mechanics. What are you writing down?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't really done that much writing down yet, but just in my head, knowing that I keep the interceptions down for sure. Don't force stupid throws like out running out outside the pocket or something. Don't just force balls away and create turnovers. So make sure my interceptions are down and also make sure my completions are up and not just rush balls out of my hand and spike it or anything stupid like that. So just making sure that I just really slowing the game, not slowing the game down, but seeing it fast and then relaxing once it happens.
Nathan, it's a pleasure to be able to have you on. I wish you nothing but the best of luck this season with Tolland. As far as the football program is concerned, I know you did great with baseball, and hopefully you can come back on during the season and kind of give me an update on how Tolland is doing, but also yourself, because you're a heck of a talent both in both sports, and I think the future just keeps getting brighter for you. Just keep that head straight and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. It's an honor to have me on here. Appreciate it.
No problem. That'll wrap things up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. On my journey, find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.